Johnson. I work with Palomar Insurance in Montgomery, and I do construction insurance and trucking and workers' comp, bonds, all that. So if y'all have heard my spiel before, I'll ramble up there a little bit, so y'all just bear with me. But what I like to do, I think most of the stuff that I'm going to discuss is things that happen in your business that I see every day with claims or with attorneys, and I think that you'll be interested in a lot of what we have to talk about. The reason I put this picture up here is on your equipment. Y'all have bulldozers, backhoes, things like that. One thing to do is every year when your insurance renews, make sure you look at what you have, the values you have your equipment insured for. You got a $100,000 tractor that's worth $100,000 this year. Is it worth $100,000 next year? Probably not. It's gone down. So general rule of thumb is it's $1 a 100. So a $100,000 tractor would cost $1,000 a year to insure. If it ain't worth but 80, that's only $800 a year to insure. And if you have several pieces of equipment, you can save a lot of money every year by just lowering your value to what it's worth. Don't put don't put what you owe on it, put what it's worth. Because somebody may have a $100,000 tractor, but they only owe 50 on it, they'll only want to insure it for 50. Always insure your equipment to value, and you shouldn't have any problems. So,
How do you determine
I have a lot of my
that?
folks.
Do the insurance companies have that?
We're not going to tell you what to put on it, but like whoever you buy equipment from, a lot of times guys will call their equipment people.
So we have a Bobcat, and it's in my world it's worth like $20,000, and I get it covered for $20,000. Something happens to it, and it's total. Is it? I've always had this question in my mind, because thank goodness I never had it happen. How does that work?
They go on
Does the
auction
insurance
average.
company
They
take my word for it, or?
No.
Okay.
They're going to go by auction average. They're going to have an independent adjuster come out and do it. They're going to go. It's usually auction average, and there'll be an above average price and a below average price. So
How do I know that? That's my.
there's no really.
How do I know how to insure?
You need to talk to your salesman, your cat salesman, or John Deere, whoever the equipment. You can call them every year. Whoever you buy the majority of your equipment from can go through your list and say, okay, well, and they'll get you close, you know. But I would probably.
I've never had to deal with it, thank goodness.
Right, that's right.
But I've always had that question in my mind.
But if
I
you
think
got
I asked you this last year.
Yeah. If you got 100,000 on a tractor and it's only worth 80, I don't care how much you could put 150 on it, you ain't getting an 80.
Right.
So.
But you've been paying for 100, and you're
That's right. That's right. Now, if you only have 80 on it and it's worth 100, you're still only going to get 80 because that's the max you had on it. But if you'll look at those every year, not trucks, on your equipment, your trucks should be based on cost new.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Yeah, trucks, I feel comfortable with.
Right. If this happens, and this is happening a lot right now, I probably had 3 of these calls because it's wet and stuff's bogging up and falling out of, you know. And if you got a call, so you got a $100,000 tractor insured right there, you got to go rent another excavator to come out there, which is going to cost you, $2,000 or $3,000. You need to dig out. Then you got to get maybe a wrecker to come out there and pull it out of the mud, and that's a couple $1,000. Well, that cost is going to come off of the value that you got that tractor insured for. So if you got a $100,000 tractor and it costs $5,000 to get it out of the mud, and it's totaled, well, they're going to pay the wrecker bill and all that out of the $100,000. That's what it was worth, and then you're going to get what's left over unless you're deducting.
Now, hold on here. Let's say that that's an $8,000 machine, you're over insured. You got $100,000 insurance. So does the wrecker bill go, and then if you total it, you value it at $80,000, but I've got $100,000 worth of insurance, so will you go give me 80 for the machine and still pay for the, won't do that? Okay, thanks.
It's coming off the value of the tractor.
Right.
But what you don't wanna do is have an $80,000 machine, and have a $100,000 machine insured for 80, you know, cause that's, now you're only gonna get 75, less your $1,000 deductible. You know, you try to insure it to value, we usually don't have any problems. Y'all forget that what y'all do is dangerous. The business that y'all are in is dangerous. And stupidity, you know, some people that does it every day, oh, it's funny, but that guy right there in the green shirt could be, I've had the green shirt guy, the owner of the company, fall and just about kill himself before. And he owns the company and he's been doing it his whole life. Had one happen in Montgomery 2 years ago. He's lost some fingers, some toes. He was when he fell off the roof. It was a framer, fell off and got hurt, knocked him out. He was in a coma for a while, lost, you know, I guess, circulation. And so he's in pretty bad shape, but he's alive. But just not paying attention. Here's another record bill. That one hit a bridge. I've had people, you know, they hit bridges a lot. It happens more than you would think. Where they're hauling a piece of equipment. And those bridges get expensive. And that comes off, that doesn't come out of your equipment, you know, whatever it costs to fix the bridge. But I do see that a lot. I had a guy a few years ago have a backhoe. He's local from Alabama. Calls me one day, hey man, I hit a bridge. Where were you? New York. Hey, what's he doing in New York? Man, I had no clue. This guy's he puts in cable TV stuff. Had his backhoe, run him up on it, hit a bridge. So happens a lot. Rental equipment, you know, that machine's toast probably. It's a brand new machine. The damage waivers, you would be better off if you rent equipment. Number one, to get to either call your agent, add it to your policy while you've had it. $100,000 machine would be $1,000 a year, would be $80 a month, would be $20 a week, whatever. You only pay for the time you had it. So call your agent, add it to the policy. When it's gone and you know it's back at the rental place, call your agent, tell them to take it off. And then you're covered for fire, theft, vandalism, sinking, falls off into the creek or a pond that you're working on, and be covered. The damage waiver that you get at the rental stores is about 14% of the cost. So if it's $1,000 a week to rent something, you're gonna pay $140 for the damage waiver, which only covers fire and theft. So that ain't fire or theft. So it wouldn't be covered on the damage waiver. Vandalism, not covered when the kids come by and bust the windows out of it this weekend. So think about those damage waivers before you sign them. That's that same excavator that hit the bridge, and yeah, he's hauling it on his truck. The truck insurance, and y'all remember this, have people all the time, man, I got full coverage on my truck, I got full coverage on my trailer. They expect whatever they're hauling to be covered. It ain't covered. Just because you got full coverage on your trailer, it covers your trailer. Your truck, had a guy call us the other day, his truck, that somebody stole his pistol out of his truck and they stole his computer. Well, I got full coverage on my truck. Okay, that's right. It covers your truck. It don't cover the contents. What's on your trailer is only insured. If you got it insured, it'd be covered, but just because it's on your trailer, it ain't covered. Now, if you're hauling other people's stuff, you need cargo insurance. Your stuff would only be covered if you have it listed on a policy. You got, you know, a Cat 320 excavator and a bulldozer and on your equipment schedules where it would be covered. Where you hit the bridge, that's going to be a auto liability claim that's going to fix the bridge. You know, again, what y'all do is serious, and I just kind of, I mean, it's dangerous, and I just put that up there just to kind of want to get a chuckle out of everybody. But, you know, chances of you getting hurt at work today in the construction business is pretty good. Vehicle use policy, you're going to start seeing that. We get a claim. If we have a wreck in a commercial vehicle, we're probably getting sued. You don't have to be at fault. You're gonna get sued. One of the things the insurance companies are looking for at renewals every year, they're looking at your safer scores. If y'all are monitoring that, if you got a DOT number, you got a safer score. You need to watch that, because every time your truck gets pulled over with a bad tire, it goes on there. When one of your drivers gets caught speeding in your truck, it goes against your score. And it's got a 2-year tail on it. It lasts for 2 years. So whatever happened 2 years ago is going to be off. Some happens today, it'll be to the 2022 before it comes off your record. The insurance companies are looking at that. They're also looking at vehicle. Do you have a vehicle usage policy in place? And some of them, you can get them off the internet. I've got them. You can call me. I can send you a sample one. You just put your letterhead on it. Make your employees sign it. It says one. It says several things, but one of them is it's okay for me to check your driver's license, your MVR every year. I want to see your motor vehicle report, see how many speeds you have. You need to sign something saying that it's okay for you to do that. The employee does. You check them every year. It also says that you will not be texting and driving when you're driving my truck. You know, be speeding in my vehicle. It talks about major violations on here and cell phone usage, and they just sign it, and it's documentation, because if something happens, you're going to need documentation. They're just going to take your word for it. You're going to need a stack of paperwork to go to depositions with, saying that you want to make sure that your employees are safe every day in your vehicles or on your job sites, and the public is safe. And with documentation of this, that's one thing that helps. I have this happen all the time. Here's the company truck, and he's pulling a trailer, or he's pulling the portalet, and who's behind him following? Another employee headed to a job site, and he ain't paying attention. I have dump trucks run together all the time. Once or twice a year, two dump trucks are going to run into each other, following too close. And then the driver's the owner's company get mad because he's got a truck out, So part of that could be, addressed in your vehicle use policy. Matt, really don't have anything to say about that other than I thought I need to put this in the show. Back to the, just everybody knows everything, and don't be that guy. Scared the crap out of me until my friend told me it was a prank on our boss. So I have a lot of folks that are in the asphalt business too that we insure. 13 workers die every day on job sites. So it may not be going on right now because ain't nobody working, it's too wet, but they're gonna go on running. So back to, and there was somebody I think doing a confined spaces class here. That would be a good one maybe to attend, but I pulled up on job sites and seen that. You see the guys down there in the trench. That happens a lot. I myself, and I don't go to job sites every day. I go every once in a while. I pulled up on job sites and seen that. They're under the excavator watching the excavator work out there. Don't do that. It talks about it. It says some of these cases, the victims were only half buried but died anyway. Why is that? A cubic yard of soil weighs up to 3,000 pounds. A trench collapse may cause 3 to 5 cubic yards of soil. So even if you're buried to your waist, successful rescue is unlikely. You're probably going to die. Even if your head is out of the soil, every time you exhale, the soil will press down on your chest, making it impossible to take another breath. You're unlikely to be able to rescue someone from a trench collapse. If the soil is heavy, the trench will continue to collapse, endangering anyone who jumps in to dig them out. Even if you get them out, once all that pressure is off of their waist and legs and all that, because it's restricted the blood to them, as soon as the pressure is released, sometimes they die from a blood clot, where all the blood's rushing everywhere. So, and the OSHA penalties for this is through the roof. And I've already had a customer in Montgomery was doing a bore under a road. They weren't doing the bore, they were getting it ready. So somebody else could come in and bore under the road. OSHA comes by, and there was footprints in the hole. And that's when they got pictures of the footprints and find them, and I don't know what to find, but they're gonna get fined. This just happened in the last month or so. But they shut the job down, and they had to go back and do some more shoring or something, but he had trench boxes and something, but it wasn't proper. Or the OSHA guy wouldn't have shut it down. But they found footprints. They come in, pull up and see somebody in there, they saw the footprints had been in there, and that it wasn't shored properly or whatever, and so, something to think about. Make sure they're right. More of the same, and that's not good. You know, I don't care how good that soil is, you know. It's just not a good idea. This happens a lot. I mean, I just had that claim last week. That's not my customer, but he had a dirt pit down in Mobile and came back to work on Monday, and the dang tractor was halfway in the dirt pit. Sir?
It didn't happen while they were working.
No, it happened over the weekend, yeah, where it had collapsed. A friend of mine lives on a river there around Tallahassee, and, you know, around Montgomery. And I talked to him, he said that the bank had caved in. I mean, he just built this house, and I haven't seen it yet, but it's up on stilts, and it's in a flood, you know. I mean, he had to build it up 12, 15 feet off the ground. Beautiful place. I've just seen a couple of pictures of it. And 25 feet of the river, the bank has collapsed. And I said, well, golly, how close are you to the river? He said, I'm 25 feet closer to the water. That's a brand new machine right there. More of the same. I've had this happen, come back and have a D8. That's not my customer, but I've had a D8 get stuck in a ditch a couple of years ago. They're doing some, you know, they do a lot of work for forestry industry, going in and building roads and cleaning stuff. They're in Georgia right now, north of this particular customer, north of Panama City somewhere. There's thousands of acres of land that was in a trust, and when the hurricane came through a couple of years ago and, you know, broke some trees off about halfway up, there's absolutely no economic value. And so you can't burn down there or over there, wherever it's at. They pushed them up in piles. It cost too much. It was cost prohibitive for that. So they got D8s. They got them hooked together with monster chains, and we haven't seen it. We were supposed to go a couple of weeks ago, and they got rained out, and I want to go soon and see it. They got those chains, and they're just going down through there with those D8s and just pulling the trees over onto the ground. Then they're going to come back and chemical spray it, and then they'll come back hand plant it and get the trees replanted. But anyway, so the same guy gets the tractor stuck in a ditch. It's late one afternoon. He said, all right, we'll just get it in the morning. So they go to the office. The next morning, they load the excavator on the trailer so they can go down there and get it unstuck. When they got there, what had happened, they had been working in this low spot. It had rained all night, and the water comes in there, and the tractor's underwater because they didn't realize that they had dammed up something just close by, and all that water totaled that machine out, and it was a D8. So we had to get his excavator, and had to get another excavator to get it out. Then they had to get a record. I don't know what he spent. It was a fortune he spent, but it come off like we were talking about earlier. You know, it came off of the value of the machine. He was underinsured on this machine. He only had $60,000 on the machine. It was worth $100 and something. I mean, he didn't come out good. But he bought the machine back, fixed it himself, and he wound up okay. But if he'd have just let the insurance company handle it, he'd have been hurt. Another one of those, and again, this is happening all the time. I mean, I'm twice a month right now, somebody's calling me for that. That's one of my customers, and I knew that had happened. So this is in Montgomery. That truck had a hub catch on fire. So it's going down the road, the hub catches on fire that's just a tandem axle truck. So it catches on fire, they get a fire extinguisher, he pulls off on the side of the road, gets it fixed, or gets the fire out. And, they call the wrecker hooks to that truck, and went to pull out. When he did, he turned the truck over. So, he needed his truck fixed. The record company was giving us some static about not wanting to pay for it. We turned in a claim on his insurance. His insurance company paid to fix the truck, and now they're gonna go back after the record company trying to get the money back, because it ain't his fault. The fire was his fault. He wasn't even gonna turn in the insurance claim. Well, hell, he had to turn in a claim on that truck. Now we had $40-some thousand on that truck. He had to pay to get his truck fixed. And I thought this was crazy. There's two, that one's in the pond, or the pool, and there's another one. That's different. I don't know, maybe that's the same thing. That's the same one, ain't it?
It's different, different view.
So what covers that? I mean, that's an auto liability claim is gonna fix their book. Your insurance for your truck, whatever you have covered on it, will fix your truck, but your auto liability will cover to fix the boat. Now, what if that's your excavator that's in the boat? That's a general liability claim. That's a general liability. Mobile equipment's going to be on your general liability. Autos, autos. So the auto policy, your auto liability.
Fix the equipment that fix the boat.
Yes. And your equipment, if you had the Adobe machine insured, for whatever value you had on it, if it was damaged, the equipment would cover that. And this could be pollution. So CA 9948 is it's an endorsement that goes on auto policy that would cover upset and overturn. So on your auto policies, if y'all got bumper trucks and they turn over, if that endorsement's added to your policy, and if it were deemed as pollution, then it would be covered. If they claim it as pollution to clean that up, and you don't have that, you're not going to have any coverage. So if y'all are in the transportation business of septic waste, you may want to make sure that you got that on your auto policy. Sometimes it costs, most of the time it don't cost anything to add. But you might want to look at a pollution policy. See, it's a commercial auto endorsement, CA 9948 is the name of it. But just call your agent, doctor.
It's just for turnover.
Right. So if it's standing there and leaks, somebody don't close something off right, whatever, and it leaks all the, 1,500 gallons of septic waste leaks on the ground, and the authorities find it, and it gets called pollution, then there won't be any cost. Your auto policy is not going to cover it. It'd be better if most of my folks that are in the portable restroom, if they got portable restroom, we have a pollution policy. So we talked about this yesterday, and this is something once a year, something this will come up somewhere. So you're going in a rural area to work for somebody, and you got to go across the bridge, on their property. Don't worry about it, man. We just hauled 30 loads of pine trees out of there 2 years ago. That bridge is fine. Okay. Well, get them to sign something. And I'm not guaranteeing you that that's going to work, because we had somebody sign something, and that happened on the triaxle one time, and they went in and we still had to fix the bridge, and the guy had something signed. So I don't know if he didn't get it signed properly. I don't know what the deal was. It could have been the insurance company was like, we'd rather pay to fix the bridge. It wasn't much, $4,000 or $5,000, but I mean, it could have been a lot more than that. So keep that in mind if y'all are working on private property, Please have safety meetings with your employees. If y'all just have one, have a safety meeting with them a couple of times a year. Preach safety every day, number one. Because if you do that, it's proven that I don't know what the statistics are, but it's a lot lower if you have safety meetings for claims than if you don't. But if you're out there preaching safety every day, you got other people that's driving your vehicles. Again, what I say to start with, what y'all do is dangerous, and you forget, and those drivers forget. You're doing it all day, every day, and everybody's in a hurry, and especially when it breaks here in a little bit, so everybody's going to want you on their job today. Slow down. Remind them to slow down, have a safety meeting, preach defensive driving. If you're coming up on an intersection somewhere and it's congested, slow down. Well, the speed limit's 45. I had a double fatality going across an intersection at 11:30 at lunch, restaurants everywhere, and a man and a woman pulled out in front of a dump truck. They hit them. It could have been avoided. It was not my guy's fault, but it could have been avoided. I'm telling you what, he wasn't, the speed limit was 45. He was going closer to 45 than he was 35. He could have slowed down before he went across there with all them cars pulling in and out there. But he didn't do it. It wasn't his fault. He still paid $700,000 out on the claim. Double fatality. I was at the claim, saw it myself. Just get him to slow down. But
So it wasn't his fault, but you guys weren't able to prove it, but you still had to pay?
I took pictures, and we're gonna talk about that in a second. I went to the job, I went to the accident, I took pictures, every different angle. They said that if I hadn't done that, they'd pay $2 million, he had a $2 million umbrella, probably like $3 million on the deal. So here's what happened in that situation. I took good pictures, 100 yards away from the accident, every angle that you could be, sent them to the insurance company. By the way, nobody ever had me on the bag, sent me a Starbucks gift certificate or nothing. But I saved them $2 million. The driver, at the time of the accident, his license was suspended. If his license had not been suspended at the time, we would have not had to pay so much. But you know why his license was suspended, and y'all have all the time if y'all have them CDLs. That's medical card stuff. You go in and you do your test or whatever, you send it to the state, however all that stuff works, but you better call them and make sure that they got it and they endorsed your license, because if you don't, your license will be suspended. Now the driver gets notified, but heck, you think they, some of them pay attention, some of them don't. Some of them, their mail's going to their third ex-wife they had 3 years, so they don't know. And you don't know. And so that's why it's critical to check MVRs annually and talk to your drivers in safety meetings when you have those safety meetings, and even help them take over their med card stuff. When their med card's due on their CDL, was it every 2 years or something like that?
Well, it depends on your health.
So help them with it. I mean, you don't want to babysit, but heck, you have to. That's being a business owner these days, But preach defensive driving, have safety meetings with them, talk to them about speed, plan for unexpected stuff. If you're going through heavy intersections, slow down, be prepared to react. Do not expect the other driver to do what you think he should do. Prepared all the time. Respect others. Quit riding somebody's behind all the time. I see it all the time. I get so stinking mad when the big truck's riding. When I'm slowing down because the area looks congested and I'm in a pickup truck and here comes a big truck flying around me, I want to snatch him out and beat the brakes off of him, But talk about that. If you have meetings and you're talking to your drivers about this, I promise you'll see a difference in claims, and you may not have any. Maybe you haven't had any, but it's coming. But if you continue to do this, you can keep them. Hopefully, keep it down to a minimum. What to do in an accident? And I've got some of these, and it's available on the internet. You can get anything you want. That you can get safety policies and procedures, vehicle use policies I just talked about. You pull them up on the internet; they're everywhere for free. What to do, what not to do. This is just a few simple things. Set out warning devices when necessary. I've had drivers killed. They've had an accident. They get out of their vehicle. They don't put any kind of warning devices. It could be foggy. It could be whatever. And another car comes along and hits the driver. I've had that happen personally. I've been doing this 22 years, so I've insured a lot of trucks. And I've seen pretty much about everything. And so set out warning devices. Do not move your vehicle until instructed by the authorities. Contact the authorities, your company, and medical assistance. We can get these for you to talk to your drivers about. Stay at the scene, be courteous, fill out crash reports, take appropriate pictures. Do not admit fault. And don't sign anything or make statements except anybody with authority. So the best thing to do, get out, check on everybody, get in the truck, keep your mouth shut, really. Because anything you say or do, Shannara is going to use against you. Y'all know this happens a lot. I have it happen all the time. Where they've gone down the road with a tar pup or something, hit a bridge, hit an intersection, go through the intersection and wipe out all those stinking lights. Something happens all the time. I have no idea. I've never driven one of those. But I think I would know if my bed was up. It happens at night. Now, I can see it on some of them asphalt jobs. I'm sure some folks that do asphalt, and I've had that happen, go down the road and hit the bridge because they left. You know, they're in a hurry. So they go ahead and take off, drop the bed while they're going down the road. Next thing you know, it hadn't gone all the way down and it hits the dang bridge and tears the bridge off. You know, when we have our safety meetings that we were talking about, let's don't do that. That's probably not a good place to have a safety meeting, I think. You know, another one of those, I just don't get it. As you're talking to your drivers, the attorneys are suing everybody. And they're not just suing you, they're suing the driver. But your insurance is going to pay his defense costs on it. But now we're not going to be able to help him with this. If he's charged, this one right here was charged with, he hit the back of that truck hit a school bus. It says the driver of the dump truck has been charged with negligent driving after an accident with a pickup truck and a school bus and injured more than 20 people. So your insurance company is going to pay to defend him in the lawsuit or whatever, but we're not going to help him fight his criminal case if he gets brought in. You know, if he's speeding or doing something stupid he shouldn't have been doing, and the police authorities charge him for something, he's going to be on his own on that.
If you hurt 20 people, how much insurance do you have to have for something like that? I mean, big deal.
That's a good question, and I don't know the answer, but a lot. Yeah, a lot. I still have people call me and go, hey, look, I need to get a quote. All right, send me your stuff. I get them a quote. Man, you high? What do you mean high? That's a pretty good price. I don't need $1 million. You've got it quoted with $1 million. What do you mean you don't need $1 million? Well, I don't have 100,000 on my trucks. Well, I can tell you this, I ain't selling you 100,000. Keep it where it's at. I wouldn't sell anybody with a big truck less than $1 million for nothing. I mean, there ain't no sense in it. It ain't that much difference to go from $500,000 to $1 million. Now, from 100,000 to $1 million is pretty good jump. But I mean, $100,000. I mean, heck,
That's just the truck, pickup truck.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of trucks out there, $75,000 in the parking lot now. Driving that truck, you got $100,000 worth of coverage, and you wreck somebody with a $75,000 truck, and they get hurt, and they got $50,000 worth of medical bills. They ain't sued you yet. I'm just saying to fix their truck, $75,000 and $50,000, that's $125,000 just to cover them. Now they want some damages, pain and suffering. That's another $100,000. $100,000 ain't gonna cut it. 20 people, and it can get expensive. So, and I'm gonna tell you what cuts it. I don't know where I got it at. That was actually one of my customers right there. I didn't realize it, but that could be a pollution deal. We have pollution on those folks. But that truck wasn't our truck. I insured the folks that's got the seal coat deal there. And that truck, I don't remember what happened on it now. They cut over on it and tore the truck up. But now, if that had turned the tank over and all that seal coat had spilled out, then that's going to be a pollution claim. If they had pollution insurance, it would be covered. Luckily, we didn't have to pay pollution on that one. You see this all the time. You'll have a wreck out there on the road somewhere and hit a guardrail. 2 years later, you get a bill for $20,000 where it costs to fix it. They don't fix them immediately. It takes them a while to get those guardrails fixed, and then they send you a bill. And they're like, I got a bill from the DOT today for $20,000. What was that? It was 2 years ago when we hit it, And I've had some people that's hit the bridge, didn't turn in a claim, and they still get a $20,000 bill from the guardrail, where it costs to fix the guardrail. You know, a couple of years later, well, guess what, we're turning the claim in now, because he just fixed his truck himself, it wasn't that bad damage, but I don't know. Dash cams. I have contemplated putting a dash cam in that Dodge 3500 I got up there. I'm gonna pull a horse trailer all over the place. And I am as defensive driver as they make. I ain't saying I'm not gonna have a wreck. I can have one, but when it gets in the tough spots and congestion and all that kind of stuff, I pay attention. And I start slowing down. And a dash cam will say it. I've had tremendous amount of claims where people, they're trying to set you up now. They'll come around, slam on brakes, you hit them, and they will leave. And 2 weeks later, you'll get a lawsuit. If you'd have had a dash cam in there, we could have videoed it and saw what happened and helped defend it. But we'll pay $50,000, $40,000 over junk like that. So if I had know this, if my trucks were on the road making a living with them every day, I'd have dash cams in them. And you can probably around $500. I got a guy in Montgomery. He's got them in 10 triaxle dump trucks. He had 141. You know, it'll alert you too. So you got the dash cams videoing out the door or out the window. It's got one on the driver, and the drivers hate that, by the way. They don't like that. I don't. So what? So what? But speeding, hard braking, texting, I don't know what all it catches, but it catches a lot of stuff. So we had 3 months. He had 141 violations on 10 trucks. He calls a meeting, set a safety meeting together with all his drivers. There was 2 guys that didn't have anything, but he had a printout. When they walked in the door, he gave them a printout. Everybody a printout of what, here was your truck, here was your truck. It showed when they hard brake, speed, texting, driving, all that kind of stuff. So he had somebody in his office that was handling that. And he said, all right guys, he said, I need, so-and-so and so-and-so, you came up, he gave them $100, safe driving, plaque, gift certificate or something. And he said, all right, so the rest of you, here's the deal. I'm in charge of the trucks now. He's got all everything he's got is nice. New trucks, new equipment, he keeps good stuff. He's got a lot of work. He don't want to work on stuff. He keeps good trucks and good equipment. He said, I got the best trucks around. He said, we feel like we're as good an operation there is to work for. So I'm in charge of the trucks now. So going forward, you get caught speeding in one of my trucks. If I get an alert, you were speeding in one of my trucks, you're fired. You were texting and driving in my truck, you're fired. You doing anything stupid that I feel like the public was not safe, you're fired. Y'all understand? If you don't like it, you don't want it like it, you can leave and I'll find somebody to drive trucks for. So he got it all straight. 30 days later, you know how many violations he had? And he didn't really like it. It was a texting and driving, but what had happened? They sent him an alert. The driver pulls off the road, and he's going to the dirt pit and get a load of dirt. And as he's going down the speed limits, 5, 10 miles an hour, whatever, he's on his phone, looking at his phone, and I guess the cameras caught him. So he called and said, hey, look, we text our drivers where to go. So what was happening is when he got off the road, big road, he was headed back there in the back to get loaded. He was looking at his phone and his text to see where we wanted to go next. And they said, well, we understand, but he could have waited while he was getting loaded to do that. And so we think that you need to address it. But he didn't fire the guy. But he did address it with the drivers. And I've had, I don't know, more than one. I don't know when it was, but I know that I've paid claims of where a front end, a wheel loader and a dump truck have hit each other in dirt pits before. Not when they were loading or unloading on the way, like coming around the corner and hits each other. So I understand that happens too. And this is just a case that everybody, that's a dash cam caught that, and that's, a lot of that stuff is avoidable. Slow down when things start to, put in those trucks, cars or anything else. Pay attention to what's going on ahead of you. If it looks like it's going to get hairy, well, slow down. Get in the other lane. Live through it. It don't take that long. There's no telling how many times, and I get so mad that he ain't riding a lot of times I get pissed off. We're going down the road, it started on the way out here. some dude riding up behind, I get over, he flies by me, 2 lights later, guess where I'm at, right next to him. No reason for him to be acting like an idiot like that. And then me either, I cussed and carried on, acting a fool myself, and he didn't ever hear me, but I guess I'm making myself feel better, I don't know. But shouldn't have happened, slow, everybody's in a hurry, slow down. Now what kind of claim is that? General liability claim, that's a piece of mobile equipment, backhoes, y'all take backhoes, wheel loaders down the road all the time, moving from job site to job site, that's not an auto claim. That's a general liability claim. And I see a lot of people in y'all's business that don't have general liability insurance. Please get it, it's not that expensive. Really don't know why I've got that picture on there other than it's just a wrecked dump truck. I've told several people this for 20 years when I've been doing these meetings. I'm like, all right, how many of y'all have dump trucks? Everybody raises their hand. I'm like, sell them. Get rid of them. That's your biggest liability is a dump truck. So, written company policies, please have those in place. Safety policies, vehicle use policies. You can get them on the internet anywhere. Bonding. We do bonds. You have to have a bond for the state. For your wastewater bond, payment performance bonds, or something that's different, and that's a different kind of bond. I'm seeing that a lot of people are requiring those more now. So if you need a payment performance bond, if you call my office today and you need a bond for the LWB, I can have you one Monday probably. You need a payment performance bond for a $300,000 job or a $700,000 job. You've never been bonded before, it's going to take a month. There's a lot, it's 12 pages of financials, letters from your banker, all kinds of stuff that you're going to need. So if you think that you may have to do one of those bonds, please call the agent, call me, call somebody, and get started on the paperwork now, because it's a lot of stuff. This happens regular. It's raining right there, everything's wet. That happened a lot lately, the tractors falling off. I haven't had one of them killed lately, but I have had employees, drivers killed unloading equipment. And so that's it. If I can help y'all with something, please let me know.
Those dash cams, that lower the insurance?
Sir?
The dash cams lower the insurance?
There's not a set, you get 10% by having dash cams. But what it will do I have to make a presentation, a narrative on you when I send it in to get a quote. A lot of times, the more that we know that we can tell them, they're going to pull your CAP score, safer score, and see what kind of accidents and stuff. So if that's good, your claims are good, you've got dash cams in your trucks, you have safety meetings, all that stuff that makes an underwriter feel good, warm and fuzzy, and you can probably get a better price than somebody that doesn't. Or guess what? They may even just quote you where they wouldn't have quoted you because you got them there. Because they are selective right now. Because if you are have trucks, I had somebody call me today. While I was here, a guy I've been chasing down to South Alabama for 10 years. He calls me today and he said, hey, my insurance company went up 25% on my renewal. I said, when it comes up soon? I called him 2 months ago and he's like, I don't know. So now renews in 15 days before warning. Now you got time to get a quote, man. It's just went up 25%. So be aware of that. Because it's going up on the auto. So the dash cams help, absolutely.
Thank you.
So what happens to the dash cam if it was your fault?
You pay. But it's the other 19 times that it wasn't your fault. You know what I mean? That's the ones that were worried about it.
Dig at you.
If you got to pay, those pay. If you don't. So I would have them in there, I can tell you that. I think they're worth their weight in gold.